As a reminder, again, there is the link up in the chat if you want to scroll back up to that for the door prizes. We will probably be posting again at the end of the session just to remind you of that. And now on to our final session. In this session, our hope is to provide an overview of some of the professional development opportunities that are available for SUNY faculty who are considering adopting adaptive or personalized courseware, and some examples of how some campuses are supporting faculty locally with their integration of some of these platforms and OER materials. This is by no means an exhaustive listing. It is just our hope that faculty making this transition can use some of the knowledge gained today to help find the local supports needed to empower your teaching and enable student learning. I will also encourage you to use the chat feature or ask to speak using your microphone to share your reports that you appreciate already and the supports that you would find useful. So first we have 4 speakers. The first will be Mike Daly, who's the Director of Operations for SUNY OER Services. We'll be talking about Lumen Circles, a faculty professional development opportunity available for SUNY faculty using or considering OER. And so Mike, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll move on with our next set of speakers.
Thanks, Chilton, and thanks everybody for joining us today. It's been really enjoyable over these past 4 weeks to see the energy and the really thought-provoking and critical questions that faculty are asking about the courseware and adaptive learning opportunities that are available to them. As the Director of Operations for SUNY OER Services, I'm happy to share a little bit of information about Lumen Circles, really building on the positive response we experienced in a coordinated faculty development effort last year. SUNY OER Services, in cooperation with SUNY Center for Professional Development, or the CPD, are making Lumen Circle fellowships and success accelerators available to select SUNY faculty who are either using OER or considering using OER during 2021. If you'd like to be considered for a fellowship, the link is at the bottom of the screen, info.lumenlearning.com/circles-SUNY. We'll share this link out as well in the chat. Each virtual learning circle connects faculty interested in exploring similar directions such as online learning, diversity, equity and inclusion, OER and open pedagogy, or active learning strategies. These circles are 9 weeks and they have rolling starts. We have 2 starts starting in August. So certainly feel free to check out the link for more information. For SUNY faculty who are already using or considering Waymaker or OHM, the Online Homework Manager, or OLI, Lumen will also offer virtual learning circles called Success Accelerators. These are focused on accelerating the path to effective teaching and learning using these digital courseware tools. Those are slightly shorter in length. Those are 5-week fellowships. Again, you do have to be using one of those courseware products that I just mentioned. Lumen Circle's broad-reaching area of focus means this professional development program, especially the fellowships, can work well for faculty members of all types, regardless of discipline, modality, stage of career, or whatever learning materials you may be using. Again, we're happy to provide this opportunity to SUNY faculty with the support from SUNY OER Services, and welcome any questions that you may have about it by emailing oer@suny.edu. I'm going to turn it back over to Chilton now, and I think my colleague from CPD, Chris Price, is going to join us.
Yeah, so thanks, Mike. So now let me introduce Chris, who's going to talk a little bit more. Chris is the Academic Program Manager at SUNY Center for Professional Development, and we'll now talk about the robust suite of opportunities offered by the CPD to SUNY faculty.
I just share my screen, Sheldon.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. So what you're looking at now is the academic program section of the SUNY CPD website. So my role there is the academic programs manager, and essentially that means I oversee all of our programs that are designed for faculty or the related academic enterprises on the campuses. And so there are a couple of things that we do. We have certificate programs, which we'll talk about in a second. But lately, we've been really preoccupied with, as you can imagine, the move to remote instruction that's happened recently. And I've been working, my colleague Jamie Herron has been the one sort of leading this effort. And so the first thing I'll let you know about is what's going on currently, and that is the SUNY Remote Instruction Remote Teaching Institute. And it's we had a week of webinars at the end of June. If you just go to SUNY, and if somebody's in the chat and put this in there, it's suny.edu/SUNYRTI. You can get to the website that you see right here. And so essentially this was a free opportunity that we're providing all SUNY faculty to help them plan for the fall. We had a week of webinars at the end of June, and you'll see all the recordings for those here. We had 5 days, full day of webinars. Currently, we're in the middle of a asynchronous course in Blackboard, so anybody from SUNY could sign up for that. We actually had our mid-summer check-in today with those folks. And then we will also have a week of webinars the 10th through the 14th on flexible instruction. So those will be forthcoming. And again, all SUNY faculty are eligible to sign up for those as well. Back in March, if you want to go back then, we also had a whole bunch of webinars around, I'm just trying to find the link, around remote teaching as well. So there's a bunch of stuff there. I don't know the short URL for that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I should have actually it might be on a link I'll give you in a second. But there were, we scrambled to, help faculty transition to moving remotely. And so we had a whole bunch, it was a little less organized and planned out than the Remote Teaching Institute that we're doing now. So this clinic does have lots of great resources. And again, there's a playlist there with all links to all the different webinars. And so certainly for faculty considering using adaptive technologies and adaptive learning in their classes, they'll find probably lots of great resources here as well. The other program I'll let you know about, and there are a lot of folks I see here that are involved with that, is Quality by Design, so the QBD program. So if you go to our academic programs website and you click down, all of these are listed here. I don't see the link to Quality by Design. It's pretty easy to get to though. You just go suny.edu/QBD. And this is something that typically we charge a little bit for folks to take this 4-week course that helps them design courses. It's meant for all modalities, so not just online. Again, it's 4 weeks. Typically, again, we charge a small fee just to kind of cover some of the associated costs we have with the CBD to support it. But the last 3 iterations of this course we've made freely available to all SUNY faculty, and there's one currently going on. We're planning on one for the fall. We still need to get together and talk about what that looks like. But again, there are a bunch of people here that have been involved with facilitating this. And again, it's helping faculty to design their courses with technology, obviously, but just really good course design principles. Those are the 4 weeks: learner support, content presentation, accessibility, interaction, collaboration, evaluation, and assessment. So Quality by Design. Let's see, the other things I mentioned before are one more thing before I go to those. If you go to the COVID-19 resources for faculty, and again, I'll put all these links in the chat if someone isn't already doing that. This is the main website that I'm referring to here. There's resources for faculty here. And, oh, excuse me, sorry. Resources for faculty, let me just get back to that. Oh, sorry. Okay, I was in the right group. So the resources for faculty, you'll see again, a lot of the resources I've been talking about are all collected here, but you'll see this link to workplace groups. So we've been hearing a lot from faculty that they'd like to work with other faculty in their discipline. And so we've set up these groups in workplace. We have plans to make them, to scaffold them a little bit more, to maybe provide some ways to help them be more useful to folks. But right now they just live in workplace, and they've just been populated by folks who are interested in, like I said, networking and communicating with other faculty in their discipline. And so you can join these groups by going to this page and just finding the group that you want to join. You'll see in the STEM disciplines, they're very focused on individual disciplines. However, in some like social sciences, we don't have it broken down as much, and that's just been based on request. And so if you don't see a group that you'd like, feel free to reach out to me, and we'll create one for you. Again, right now we're very much in the experimenting stage with these, and I think our plan in the next probably a few weeks is to try to figure out how to use these a little more purposely and intentfully, and try to figure out, help faculty kind of, again, build scaffold around faculty using them. And if you go to workplace, and you'll see this is what the math and computer science one looks like, and it's just a workplace group. And the last thing I'll just mention too is our certificate programs. We have a number of certificate programs. We have one for new faculty. We have a couple assessment-related certificate programs. The one for faculty that they predominantly take is the one on assessment of learning outcomes. And you see the competency development program for instructional designers. And then we have this past year a new one on diversity, equity, and inclusion in teaching and learning. This one, typically our programs are 3 courses. This one has 6. And so information about that you can find there. All our courses, these do cost money though. So we have instructors for these programs and we pay them. And so these cost money, and all the details are there. And I know for many of you, your budgets might not allow that, but there are the details with those. But they're highly interactive. They're capped at 15, 20 people. And a lot of them, especially the ones for faculty, require them to complete a portfolio, an electronic portfolio, sort of summarizing and reflecting on the work they do in their programs. So I know I only have 5 minutes, so I don't want to take more than that, but happy to answer any questions if you have them. Feel free to reach out to me directly.
Thanks, Chris. We'll let our next 2 presenters talk, and then we were kind of planning on opening this up for everybody if they have questions specifically. So our next 2 speakers, just to keep moving forward, our next 2 speakers are going to frame this approach for supporting SUNY faculty who choose adaptive learning platforms and courseware specifically on their campuses. So I wanted to give a chance to give a couple people who are doing this locally on their campus some time to talk. So our next presenter is Tom Capuano. He's an instructional designer from Monroe Community College and does support on his campus for integration of these with their learning management system. So Tom, thank you for taking some time to share with us today.
No problem, no problem. So I don't have a fancy slide, so just want to get that out of the way first. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'd be happy to share kind of what MCC does. We do try to focus at MCC on a team approach whenever possible. So just to have as many people who could support, these initiatives kind of working together. So specifically like with our OER integration at MCC, I basically am on that OER team with several members from our library. So kind of our point person would be our coordinator. She's a newer hire over the past year of access services and OER. So really that she would be the point person at MCC for any instructors who are interested in OER, who need assistance maybe researching materials, or even starting to put together some course maps with those materials that could align to their outcomes and their courses. So I kind of step in as the next point person if there's any tech integration. So again, if it's an OER and we're looking at a Lumen integration with Waymaker or what have you, I'll sometimes kind of play that support person, middleman between SUNY OER services and our campus. So if folks are, confused about how to integrate that into the Blackboard LMS, I'm there to help. So I can, assist them with instructions or kind of doing it along with them. And then when, things go wrong along the way, I can also be someone on campus who can assist them. We definitely refer them to SUNY OER services, like to the help desk as well. But I can just kind of be that person where if they're on campus, they can stop by and I could potentially help them, with the integration. So yeah, that's pretty much how we support it. Other than that, I do also, we do have one department who uses it as kind of a master course version. So they have the materials for the course is OER. So I assist kind of that entire department with some training every semester on how to kind of, get that content into their course and then how to best kind of roll that out so their students can access it. So that's just an example at MCC. It's again, kind of based on that team approach with different roles. Yeah, and that's it. So thanks, Chilton.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. And next we have Ed Beck. Ed Beck is the instructional designer in the Teaching, Learning, and Technology Center here at SUNY and one of the drivers of the adoption of OER and adaptive learning on our campus. So Ed, thank you very much.
Yeah. So Tom really just highlighted how at MCC they're able to share the expertise across their college. So I'm going to focus in a little different direction where I can call SUNY for help when they have when we have problems, we have issues, and just kind of go in a bit different way, because SUNY has made this large push for adaptive learning, for OER that uses or adaptive learning that uses OER as its base. And so, for example, I ran a webinar at the beginning of the summer, and I started right out from the SUNY Ready to Adopt catalog. I looked at the courses that had Waymaker courses available to them. A lot of our introductory level courses are there and available. Things like sociology, Spanish, psychology, microeconomics. We heard John Kane speak at the beginning of this whole semester. So I just pulled a list of everyone who taught those courses and invited them to a presentation on Waymaker, on adaptive learning, on OER at the same time. I was able to call up SUNY OER services and invite them to come and kind of co-pilot with me as we went and talked about what Waymaker is, what OER is, and how it might transform the class. And that was especially helpful, especially during this time where we know we're relying a lot more on internet-based tools during this remote instruction period. So we were able to do that. That went great. And then I went on vacation. Last week, I took a whole 5 days off, the first 5 days I've taken since the spring semester with the COVID crisis. And I just want to share a quick email that I was able to get while I was away. Following up on that Waymaker webinar, I got a pretty typical support ticket from one of our colleagues. They love the biology content. They want to use it in their Biology 181, which is our second half of biology course. But they want to split up the content in a little bit of a different way. So this faculty member was able to email me, but then they got my out of office message. So this was the next message I got from that faculty member. Oh, I see you're away from your desk. So I just went ahead and emailed oer@suny.edu about the Waymaker issue. Hope you enjoy your time away. And that's great for me, because SUNY has made sure that if you email oer@suny.edu as a campus lead, it goes to the Open SUNY help desk, and they can help coordinate between, is this a Blackboard issue? Is this a Lumen issue? They were able to get this problem solved. So one restful week later, I was able to reach back out to that faculty member and say, hey, did you ever get this going? And this was the response I got. Yeah, my ticket got assigned to Corey over at Lumen Learning. She was great. We were able to figure out the problem and get started. And that's what's really helped our OER initiative and our adaptive learning at SUNY really grow, is we don't have to be an island of knowledge. We have these support structures. We have the SUNY Ready to Adopt catalog. We have the help desk available to us. And so it doesn't have to be on any one person that they have to be able to answer all questions and fix all things. So I just wanted to share that as the impact that SUNY's investment into OER has made for us as a campus and as a campus lead.
Thanks, Ed. I appreciate you sharing that. We'd now like to give everyone, all of our participants, an opportunity to ask questions. You can ask questions of the presenters if you would like to get more information on anything. I've seen some things starting to pop up in the chat, or to share supports that you appreciate already for adoption of adaptive learning on your campus, or anything that you would find useful for moving forward. If you feel comfortable and want to turn on your microphone, you are allowed to come in and talk right now if you would like, or just post things in the chat. We just want to give you 1 or 2 more minutes to that before we move on to our last section of this.
I have a question. It's Carol Beckley from Buffalo State. and I think it's for Mike. I took part in Faculty Guild last semester, and my understanding is that Lumen Circles have adopted Faculty Guild or taken them under their wing, or somehow there's some connection now. If someone's already done Faculty Guild, how different is Lumen Circles, or is it the same? It was very, very hopeful, and I wouldn't mind repeating it again. I'm just wondering, would that be something that would be doable?
Yeah, Carol, thanks a lot. And you're absolutely right. Faculty Guild was our partner last year in this coordinated faculty development effort. Faculty Guild kind of saw halfway through this year that their business model was just not going to work for them. They've kind of switched strategies away from higher ed. Lumen Learning did step in and purchase the intellectual property rights and the platforms for Faculty Guild. So the experience that you went through would be very, very similar, with the caveat that Lumen has really expanded the offerings. So last year, the experience that Carol had was very discipline focused. So our faculty, our SUNY faculty in the Faculty Guild teaching fellowship experience were really grouped by discipline. In this iteration, the circles are more themed around, we'll call them elements of learning. So your experience would be very similar. The platform is exactly the same. What would change would be the content, and kind of the focus. In fact, you might even see some of the same facilitators assisting you.
Great. I would suggest it for anybody who's even a little interested. It was terrific.
Yeah, actually, just to add to what Mike said, I did one too myself last fall, and I did a Faculty Guild circle. And the big difference is that those were 14 weeks with the 2 break weeks. One of the things that Lumen learned in the process of acquiring the model was that it seemed a little long for some faculty, so they've shortened them to 9 weeks with, I think, 1 break week where you could just say, I've got other things going on this week. So they're a little bit shorter, but like Mike said, they are using the same exact platform with the tagging and everything that Faculty Guild that was good. So we're very optimistic that it's going to be a similar high quality experience for folks.
All right, if you do have further questions, please feel free to share them if you would like. We are now coming to the end of our 4-week symposium. I did want to take a second to let John Kane talk one more time. I'll quickly introduce John, although most people know him already. John wears many hats across SUNY. He is an economics faculty member at SUNY Oswego, where he has done much with adaptive learning in his classes. He's also been the co-chair of the Fact2 Adaptive Learning Task Group. I'm co-chairing with him, but I think of myself as his co-chair, and he is the main co-chair. And he's also now the incoming chair for the Fact2 Advisory Council. And so just for some closing remarks, I'd ask John to come in and talk. So John, please feel free.
Okay, let me just share my screen. 1 second. I just want to share one thing. There's a link here to the workplace group that we put together for the task group over the last couple of years. Hasn't been used that much recently, but we're hoping that if people start adopting adaptive learning, it could be a good place to go and share your thoughts, your reactions, your concerns and questions. And it's also good for you to join Workplace if you haven't yet done so. So I'm going to put the link in chat as well, but you can click on you can aim your camera at the QR code and grab it that way. Or you can just type in that URL, that tiny URL, and that will let you join the group. If you're a member of SUNY, if you're outside of SUNY, we didn't set it up as a multi-company group. If someone outside would like to join, let us know and we'll see if we can transition it over. I would encourage you all to consider working with adaptive learning. One of the things we know this fall is it's going to be really challenging. We don't know what's going to happen in terms of our classes. We know that most face-to-face classes are going to be done in some sort of a hybrid format, with some people online, some people in the classroom. At many institutions, other classes will be entirely online. And one of the things I think we really need to be concerned with is that Our colleges provide a lot of support for students who come from backgrounds where they don't have very good internet access, where they may not have very good computers in their household, and where there's other barriers they may face. And, you know, the campus Wi-Fi networks, the computer labs that are provided provide a lot of support. And when students move to an online environment, there's a lot of research that shows that students from lower income groups, underrepresented groups, and first-gen students tend to struggle more. Adaptive learning can help counter that a bit, because there's a lot of evidence that it provides support and narrows the achievement gaps for all those groups. So I'd encourage you to at least consider this, if not as your major platform, just add it into your course to provide some additional tools for students to work with, no matter how you're teaching your class. And thank you all for joining us. And that's really all I have to say.
Great, thanks, John. And thank you again to everyone for joining us today and over the last 3 weeks. We hope you've enjoyed this and learned from the symposium. It's been a lot of work and enjoyable just putting this together. So we really appreciate everyone being a part of this. Just so you know, symposium recordings are located at the SUNY Center for Professional Development YouTube channel. That is, when we'll put that into the chat, but it's bit.ly, it's the SUNY Adaptive Symposium. And we'll put that into the chat. And with that, we'll say thank you. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and look forward to hearing how things go with your adoptions of adaptive learning platforms.
Thank you.